Hello everybody, it's your host Wheel Trouble, and I do sincerely hope you are enjoying the main panels from HarmonyCon 2019. This was the successor convention to Nightmare Nights. This is the Q&A section where we get to kind of quiz the guests and hear their take on certain things. Let's go ahead and get that started. Again, I do apologize for the audio issues. I kind of explained that a little bit in the last episode. In this one, most of the guests did have microphones. Tony, however, is not one to usually step up to the mic. Anyway, see you guys at the end of the episode.
We just wanted to make a quick acknowledgement last night and thank everyone for treating that situation as well as it could possibly go. We know it's a very hard situation, but we are very, very impressed with how all of the staff, our volunteers, and just how the entire community treated the entire situation. I guess it's just a trial by fire for us. So here's Tyler. He's going to personally thank some folks.
Also, just want to let you know, we also made sure that we have additional police on site throughout the rest of this weekend just to ensure everyone's safety. From what we can gather, it was just a false threat made to the police department, but they've assured us that the hotel is safe, that everyone here is okay, and that everything should be smooth going forward. But we're going to have some people around the halls just to make sure everyone's doing all right. And I especially want to thank a few people that were a big help last night. So there was the Marriott next door, of course, that opened their event spaces to us to allow people to stay warm. Huge help from them. We also have Purple Tinker, who's at a table out there, who got 2 suites over the Marriott for people to crash in, got a bunch of food. Davat and Fiora the Tank Girl. Davat's around here somewhere, over there in the corner. He is on our AV team, and he went out and got a ton of cases of water, as well as Fiora the Tank Girl went out to get a bunch of cases of water and hand out to everyone, make sure they stay hydrated. Chalice, who helped with directing people calmly and safely away from the hotel. And, let's see, Addison Police Department, of course, for their timely and efficient response, making sure everyone's okay. And, of course, all of you guys for all of your patience and understanding last night as we dealt with the situation. And we're going to make sure that you guys all have a great time moving forward. Hey, I mean, they could ruin our sleep, but they can't ruin our fun, as Andy over here said somewhere. And honestly, last night just really goes to show, even when things are bad, even when there are people out there that, want to be hateful, want to try and ruin other people's fun, we come together, we work for each other, and we make this community strong. So thank all of you. All right, so without further ado, I'd like to give it away to Lockrock, who is going to be your MC for the evening. And take it away, Lockrock.
Thank you very much. All right, let's get some energy going in here. Are you guys excited? All right, there we go. Let's get this into a positive atmosphere. So, we are here for the question and answer panel with the guests of honor. Do we have note cards? All right, it was taken care. All right, cool. I'm behind then. All right, well then let's just get them out here. First, let's go with our the big man. He has gone from everything from storyboard artist, supervisor, co-director, director, does a little bit of everything. So everyone, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Big Jim Miller.
Hi, everybody.
And next up, we have the queen of theater, film, TV, radio, a little bit of everything. She's everyone's favorite feelings forum leader, as well as the voice of Miss Maine. Please give it up for Ellie Ray! She's taking my... That's fine. She can say whatever spot she wants. She can have whatever spot she wants. Everyone, Ellie Ray! I don't know where Tony is. Is he back there yet?
I just texted Tony. He'll be here in 5 minutes.
Can we get a microphone on?
That's fine, I can be loud. Tony, I think, is next door finishing up the yard stuff.
I don't know why they're in my hands. Here you go. Little glow sticks, they're stuck in my hands.
Well,
Yoo-hoo!
we'll see when he comes in. All right. Well, anyway, so looks like everyone's kind of got some note cards ready. Do we have some volunteers that are going to go around and pick them up? Okay.
Give them to Andy in the green.
We've got Andy's going to come around and pick up your questions. And I talk too much. They cut my mic.
Hello?
Hello. All right. Well, I think you guys know the rules. They look for Andy. If you come up with another question ready, just raise your hand. They will bring them up. Eventually, we'll get some microphones going, but in the meantime, just be loud. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves a little more? Just say hi.
No.
No.
We love you, that's all that matters! Brody's rule! That's all I have to say.
Let's be loud.
All right. Well, hey, there we go. All right. So while I start going.
Stop that.
All right. While I start going through the questions, let's just get the easy one out of the way. What was your favorite episode to work on?
Campfire Team!
You're asking me to choose between all my children. Which one is my favorite? I'm really happy with Perfect Pair. I think that came out the closest to what
Okay. All right. Well, let's just get down to it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Get down to it.
Okay.
Get down to it. Get down to it.
I don't even know that song.
This is perfect. First question I have here says, to both Big Jim and Ellie, as Rockhub is a perfect role model to Yona, what other member of the Student Six would be the perfect role model of Miss May?
That's me.
You know about the new kids?
Yeah, the new kids at the school,
Okay,
yeah.
so which one of those kids? You got Yona, you got Gallus, you got Sandbar, you got Smolder, you got Silverstream. Did I miss anybody? Marcellus. Galveston, Texas? Yeah, who's on the show? Gallus. Which one of those would look up to Miss Maid as a mentor?
All of them, come on. All of them would love her. Like, if there's not one specific, they'd all love her.
I think Acellus would probably connect with her the most.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed with my choice?
No. I'll go with Celis. All right. Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna jinx us by asking this now instead of later.
No, don't take this.
But what is something that people ask you that people don't ask you that you wish they would? What's a good question that no one ever seems to ask?
Good question that no one seems to ask.
How's your day? How you feeling?
We actually get that. We get that.
I get that all the time. People are so loving, generous, kind. The questions they ask are fantastic. My question is,
There you go.
My question would be like, why don't you guys love yourselves more?
Oh. I thought it would be like, who are you wearing?
You always love I know, right? Like, but it's more about you than it is about me. So I'd rather you ask questions about you, because I'm only here because of it's all about you guys.
I feel like I need to make joke answers because you had like such serious and nice answers. I'd be like, everyone would be like, how do I become a fashion style icon like you, Big Jim?
Oh, like I'm a big fashion icon.
You're more fashionable than me.
I'm wearing my pajamas.
I'm wearing all gray today, I realized.
I've got on my flannelette pajamas underneath my skirt, so I don't know how fashiony that is.
Hey, it's fine.
I'm right there. Awesome, love you.
All right, this question is for both of you. What was the funniest thing that has happened to you while working with the show? Or just the first thing that comes to mind?
I don't know if some of those stories are appropriate.
Tabitha farted.
Which time?
It just makes me laugh every single time. No pineapple. No, can have
She
pineapple.
does the best belches in
The
the
gas
voice
is
recorder.
just beyond the gas. Oh, no, and the falling down
Yeah.
with the laughter, because
Yeah.
it's always right before you have to do a line.
Of course, she sabotages you.
She does it on purpose.
I think it's to make her performance better.
I know.
Like she's trying to bring everyone down. So
She's the accordion of gas. It's awesome. It's fun to record with. Very, very, very. It's so much laughter. So much.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, I have a question here. My guess is it's for Jim. Was Cozy Glow inspired at all by someone from Cats Don't Dance?
I get that a lot, but she was inspired by Shirley Temple, which inspired Darla Dimple. So our references could go back even further, and a little bit of Baby Doll from Batman the Animated Series. Yeah. Voiced by the great Lorraine Newman.
Yeah. Lorraine Newman.
So, I mean, it's a little bit of everything.
Very cool, very cool. This question comes from Daxter, who is 7 years old.
Stand up, Dexter.
Dexter, where's Dexter? Woo! Is Dexter here?
Yeah, Dexter.
Hi, Dexter.
And he wants to know, do you guys like video games?
Heck yes. What was I playing? I've been playing Spider-Man on PS4. Pretty fun. Before that, I played Red Dead 2. That was real fun.
Wow.
I don't play often, but I like.
Terrible.
Just fine.
I try, but my friends are like, get out of here.
How do you like Cuber?
I like Hubert.
There you go.
I voice it.
What is the video game you voice for?
I just did one for Ubisoft. I've got an NDA signed on that, but it's coming out, and you're gonna love it.
There you go. Pretty
I'll
cool.
probably be able to let you know in
A year.
a month and a half.
Oh, a month and a half? That's soon. Wow.
Okay, we got a question for Ellie. Was there a character that you voiced that put a strain on your voice? Was there anyone particularly challenging to?
Yeah, I mean, not that you guys would probably know because we're in the United States, but in Canada, this was more a commercial, believe it or not. It was a 5-year campaign for Nicorette. Because do you guys know what Nicorette is? The no smoking aid? It's a no smoking gum and pill if you're trying to quit smoking. And they had this, what was called I can't remember his name, but he was a little monster, and it started out with this woman smoking, and then she kind of morphed into this really short little monster, because that is what the addiction is in smoking. It takes over the person who's a cigarette smoker. And so they hired me for the voice of it, but they wanted, like, what's his name from Hairspray? Right? So I had to do the worst throat bleeding horror show for that character, for Nicorette Gum, for 5 years, and they couldn't believe that it was a woman doing that voice. So they'd make me do.
Did you have to transition from the nice lady into the?
In the
into
original
Beast?
one, but then I was
then
just
you were
him.
only
Like all you
okay.
ever saw after that was the guy. So it was like very bizarre. And that I did, I literally I wouldn't be able to work for a couple of days after I did a report, and it was a 5-year campaign, and it was a huge international campaign. So, yeah, the monsters and creatures from, like when you do any of those kind of monstrous characters or aliens or creatures for gaming and stuff like that, it can put a real strain on your voice.
How long when you do a Nicorette commercial? Is that just one take, or does that
Well, they
take
get
a while?
excited because they can't believe that you're making that sound, so they're like, "Oh, let's do a whole bunch of takes." And the deal is you can only do it for so long, and your voice then your vocal cords say, "I can't do it anymore." That's about it. But they're so excited that they're hearing a sound coming out of a girl that sounds like a creature from the Black Lagoon. They just want you to keep doing it, and at a certain point, they just go on strike. Your vocal cords say, and it doesn't matter how strong your support system is if you're, really pushing your vocal cords. And like in Vancouver and whatnot, if you're If you're voicing all day, every day, it would be like clapping your hands like this all day long. You're eventually going to get calluses from just putting your hands together, and that's what essentially your vocal cords are doing when you play characters. So if you're singing a song, like if you're in a show where you've got to sing a lot of songs and you've got to play a lot of characters, like I just played Bubbles Beater while I'm in a Cat in the Hat movie, and that was a lot of singing and really kind of wild, outrageous stuff, and it wasn't like a difficult voice to do, but because you're doing 4 hours straight of, your voice gets tired.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony, please! Okay.
No,
We're still going.
we're still here.
We're still here. All right. Dylan A wants to know, why did you consider being a part of this community in the first place? Well, everyone, or more specifically, why come to the conventions? Why
Why
get
not?
around?
Are you
Yeah,
kidding? This is
we were
the best
invited.
place ever. You guys are the most incredible fandom. We were talking about this before. I've done like hundreds and hundreds of shows, and there is nothing like the My Little Pony fandom. There is nothing like the ponies that you guys are. You have made such an incredible community connected with the show. I've never experienced anything like it in 40 years of working in this industry. I have never witnessed anything like it, and I doubt I will ever witness anything quite like it again. So I think every person in the world should be on My Little Pony and be a part of the fandom, because you guys are off the charts. Like, you really have to understand what an incredible community you are, and what an incredible service you give to all of us who work on the show. You make it possible for us to do what we do, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it's really a beautiful thing.
Like, we've all worked on all kinds of other stuff, but there's we've done like Garfield and Miraculous.
What are the Garfield cons like?
Yeah, there's no Garfield convention. There's no Miraculous convention. There's no, I mean, there are comic book conventions, so when I draw a comic book, I can go to those, but like, it's not the same. Like, they all like a million different things. You guys are just here to like this one thing, so that makes it real special, because we're all sort of here with the same thing.
And it's international, you guys. Like, it's like in every single country that I've been in for this fandom, it's like astounding. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed by the community. It's overwhelming. It really is a wave.
And I went to Poly. They did not care at all. Everybody at Poly liked my little pony. Everywhere else, though.
You gotta change Bali.
We'll get there.
For me, it's just nice that, we work in these dark rooms making the show for so long that it's nice to come and actually have time to talk to people face to face and remind myself why the show is important to everyone, and hear your individual stories and what connects with you and what doesn't, and it's always really cool to find out that it's never the same for anyone. Like, some people say, oh, this episode's the worst, but then I'll meet someone who will say, that episode's actually my favorite. Like, there's no consensus on that, which is really unusual, and I love that about coming to these shows. It's just talking to you guys personally, getting to know who you are and why the show is so special. That's important to me.
Yeah, everybody is here for the same thing, but they all come from different, in their own place. So they have something that one person didn't care about at all. Great.
And the generosity, I mean, like, you're giving me all kinds of things. Like, I'm thinking, what? I've already got just by being in the show, it's already a gift. And then you come and you meet all kinds of fans, and your generosity is off the charts. Like, you are special. I'm telling you, you are really incredibly generous.
All right, well, we lost Tony. So
Tony's making a shake. He just didn't want to do it in his microphone.
To Ellie Ray, what was your inspiration to becoming a voice actress?
I think I came out of the wound of being a voice actor. I think I was singing when I came out. So, I mean, I've always had a dream of being able to communicate with my world and to storytell. And I was talking about this a little bit yesterday for anybody who was at the storytelling event last night. I think we all long to sit around fires singing and dancing and sharing fable. It's what brings us together. And being a voice actor is just an extension of any kind of storytelling. It's just 7 inches from a microphone. That's the difference. So you're not on a film camera and you're not on a stage. You're actually at a microphone. But it basically is storytelling. The only reason we open our mouths to speak, no matter what the genre of storytelling is for an audience. And I think we all want to reach out to one another and know that we are heard. We're actually listened to. So part of storytelling is response-driven dialogue, which is, what helps us all become better because of the stories we tell. And I think that is a part of our nature, every single one of us. It's why you guys love watching the show. It's why I love watching the show and being able to partake in the show so that I can connect to you guys. I think that came at a very, very early age. I wanted to reach out. It's kind of like, any kind of community situation where you come together, whether it's church or whether it's a fandom or whether we belong together. We belong to each other, and we want to share in stories that help make us better as beings on this planet. And I think I wanted to really partake in that for as long as I can remember. For as long as when I was little, I was always performing. I didn't know why. I thought I was like some kind of big star in my own mind. As I was little, I would make up stories and entertain my neighborhood. And I'd sing songs and do magic acts and that sort of thing. But I think we all sort of want to do that with each other. We all just want to hang out and tell each other stories. And I think we should. And it's what makes us whole.
Thank you. We've got a couple questions that a lot of people are wondering. If you didn't do voice acting or media production or drawing, what do you think you would be doing instead?
Good question.
Whoever knows it first.
I'd be a veterinarian. I want to work I love animals, and I would probably be a marine biologist, a veterinarian. I'd be saving elephants, and I'd be doing
They're not marine based.
No, but it doesn't matter. I'm saying marine whales, it doesn't matter. Any kind of animal I'd probably go be working with.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm qualified to do anything else. I was in university for biology before I dropped out to animation school. I don't know if I would even like to do that now if I had to change.
I could drive Uber, probably. I used to work at McDonald's. I could go back there. I think they said I could come back as a trainer, shift manager. I always, whenever I would get frustrated being back when I was a starving artist, I was like, I should work at a bank. They seem to have great situations.
They get paid vacations.
Yeah, they go home.
That's the way to go.
I would work at a bank.
They get to retire.
Yeah. Oh, now we're all wistful about all the bad decisions we made.
So if all three of you had to do a different job for the show, other than your current role, what would be most exciting to you?
Again, I spent so much time convincing people that I actually know what I'm doing at the job I have when I really don't. No, I think sound design stuff would be really interesting. That'd be like those guys do some really cool stuff, and I don't totally understand how they put all the sound effects together, where they source them from, using the library and getting them to fit in the space that they need to fit in, because some of it's library stuff and some of it's Foley stuff, and it's really, really interesting. So I think I'd like to try that.
I wish I could draw. I could animate. Yeah, I'd love that. I think that'd be so much fun.
You're wrong.
I would be the voice of Big.
Can we hear it?
Nope.
All right. What was the hardest non-disclosure agreement that you had to keep, or what do you wish you could have talked about that you couldn't because of an NDA? Obviously, only for
Still
things
under
you
an
can talk
NDA,
about.
so it's all the same NDA.
There's always an NDA. There's always an NDA.
Yeah.
You're always under an NDA.
What? Western Girls?
A long time before.
Before it was announced? I think it's easier to not talk about something when it's not announced because no one knows to ask you about it. But when there's rumors or expectations of things coming and people are, what's it like? When in the past, people are like, when's season 8 coming out? Like, season 8? I don't know what you're talking about. I had to play dumb, and I hate that because everyone knows.
All right, this question is for everyone. What character do you think you love more than all the other producers of the show?
Like, who's your favorite underloved character, unappreciated?
Who do you love more than everyone else from the show? What character?
I love more than anyone else in the show.
Maybe a character that deserves more love?
Yeah.
Oh, that deserves more love?
You love this character more than anyone else could love this character. Who is he going to be?
Just misunderstood. That's what you mean, right? Who deserves to be loved?
Good answer.
I think they all deserve to be Stygian,
I feel like that's a tough one to answer because every character is someone's favorite character.
Yeah.
And then I think like they get a lot of the secondary and background characters get a lot of love that even when we put them in the show, we never expected them to get that level of attention.
Do you have an example of someone for that?
Like some of the characters that in our files don't even have names. There'd be like incidental Ponyville Towns Pony number 3, and then someone would be like, "That is Barry Punch, and she has this crazy backstory that you can read about on this website." And I was like, "Wow, okay." Sometimes.
People like Raku, they're like,
Yeah.
It's definitely the only person
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. No.
Another person?
Yeah, there's at least one other person. Probably the person who did her voice.
Yeah.
Who here likes Little Strongheart?
See?
There you go.
Are all liars.
Who likes Zephyr Breeze? I feel like Zephyr Breeze doesn't get enough love. Yeah.
Need more saffron masala.
Yeah.
We have a question. This is a question for Miss Main. What's your favorite film?
Oh, good lord.
Miss May's favorite movie thing?
I think it's for Ellie,
Ellie or
right?
Miss Main?
I think it's for Ellie.
It's for Ellie. Oh, Lord, that's too hard of a question. Like, I love so many movies. Like, so many.
What would Sombra's favorite movie be?
What would what?
The Dark Crystal. His favorite 80s toy is Crystar. Anyone remember that stupid toy? Yeah.
Favorite drug, crystal meth?
Yeah. Favorite band, The Crystal Method.
Favorite 90s R&B?
Favorite 70s singer is Crystal Gale.
Oh!
So much. Still to you for your favorite movie.
I don't know. I'm Mary Poppins.
That's good.
That's the last one I saw recently.
Is that because secretly you are Mary Poppins?
I mean, know what? I've been asked that 4 times today.
Are you practically perfect in every way?
I don't show my umbrella. What?
This is
it's
a good one.
Secret. There's an NDA out on that.
I assume this is for Jim, but if anyone has an idea, you can go ahead and answer. I like this. Why is Applejack's hat the only hat with a cut in the top of it if she isn't a unicorn?
To convey the style of the cowboy hat. Like to get the shape a little bit more. I don't know, I didn't design her. The Lauren question.
Wow, somebody thought of that question. That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just the way we draw.
Yeah, I never thought of it as a cut.
No, I thought it was just the shape. Yeah.
Like a U-shape in like a Stetson hat. It's drawn flat in the front like that. Now, is it a cheap shortcut?
Yes. Because, you know, that's what animation is. There's a lot of cheap shortcuts that we do all the time. There's nothing wrong with that.
To Ellie,
Yes, E?
who is your favorite pillar besides Miss May?
Grecian.
Rocco.
Good answer. Cool.
I mean, they're all fantastic because they all have different elements, but they're all great. But he's my friend in real life.
All right. We had someone who came up with a question for each one of you. So I'll start with Tony. If you could write an MLP comic of your own, what would it be about?
Oh, you already did.
There's a couple of things. I've got one. There's one that I wanted to do that made it almost all the way there and then got shut down. Where Fluttershy, there was like she was taking care of these frogs, and then they were like hallucinogenic frogs, like kind of freak out. And so she was acting all crazy, and Pinkie Pie was like running around partying with her, and Pinkie Pie was like, "This is too much. A little too wild for me." And they almost got made, and then they were like, "I don't think we can have the Tony do hallucinogenics." We're not gonna do that. And then there's another one I really wanted to do where Discord has to babysit like shrunken baby versions of all the other villains, like little baby Queen Chrysalis. I might still try and do that.
Ellie,
What about you?
hang on. Oh, what is your dream role for a fairy tale that Disney hasn't done yet? I'm gonna make you
Is
think.
there anything Disney hasn't done yet?
The Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga, probably. Oh, that was easy. Yeah, no. Baba Yaga. Oh, yeah. But
With your chicken leg house, that would be super cool.
chicken leg house?
Baba Yaga lives in a house that has chicken legs, and it moves around the forest.
I didn't even
She
know
flies
that.
around.
You're terrifying me
She
right
flies
now.
around in a
I know
pestle.
about Baba Yaga, but I didn't know she had a chicken leg house.
Yeah,
I missed that part.
she has like weird.
Let's
wooden
do
legs.
it.
I think
Yeah.
giant chicken legs.
I like fairy tales that aren't scary and horrible.
No, if anyone's seen some good Mike Mignola drawings of the
Terrifies me. I
Baba
don't like
Yaga.
this scary fairy tale. They're very scary. I know, they're terrifying. She dies in the original. The Little Mermaid dies in the real story. It's just so
They
scary.
just changed it because Seafoam is really hard to animate.
Baba Yaga, that terrified everyone. Like, no, yeah.
And for Jim, of all the characters on Ed, Ed, and Eddie, who do you relate to the most?
Probably Johnny 2x4. Have the same haircut. It's in my hotel room.
This one's labeled to artists, so I assume that's Tony and Jim.
Well, Ellie's technically a voice artist.
That's true, but when I get to the question,
And if things don't work out, we might all be sandwiched.
I draw outside the lines.
do you have original characters that you like to draw and love?
That's like two questions. I do have original characters. Do I like to draw them? I mean, it's weird. Like, the older I get, the more I draw all day. Like, I love to draw as my job, but I so rarely sit around and draw just for fun anymore, that I feel like I'm not, like, bummed about it, because I do have fun drawing. I just do it for work all day long. So, like, I have my own characters. Like, I have stuff that I work on, and when I work on that, I have fun, but it's not like I don't have a character that's just like, I'm like, I'd like to have fun. Let's sit and draw this character. So, yes and no.
Yeah, mine's kind of similar. I mean, I'm sure Tony's thing is similar to mine in that I used to draw to relax when I was younger, and then now it became my career. So it's the same thing. We draw all day, we deal with stuff all day, and then finding time to draw my own stuff when I've used up all my ideas for the show I'm working on. It's hard to come up with something where I want to invest some time into developing it. I have a couple concepts, but I don't really draw them and post them because they're unformed at this point.
There's a lot of guys on Twitter and follow that they have the same job as me, and they also just go home and just draw.
I don't know how those people live.
Yeah, I'm real jealous of them. It's wild. They have a whole thing going on, and I can't.
Yeah.
Limited
Or like a condition that they can't stop drawing.
Yeah. Or maybe they just have this, like a shapes, Parkinson's type situation.
Yeah.
They're always moving.
We have a question for Ellie. How hard is it to get started as a voice actor or actress?
Everybody is a voice actor. They just don't bring it to the table. That's the one thing we have. The human connection, communication. We're all capable of it. Everybody thinks it's like, and I get into these big debates about it. Everybody knows characters. Everybody can do characters. Everybody in this room knows how to voice things that they've heard or they like. Different characters. I've heard yesterday a whole bunch of people doing all kinds of voices, and they were awesome. And we all don't credit ourselves to be able to embody a character in a story, whereas we do it naturally all the time anyway, with each other and our friends and our families. And institutionalized training, I don't believe in, because I believe it's inherent to the human condition, which is storytelling. I think everybody can do it, and I think we should do it, because it's the greatest thing in the world to be able to share with humanity stories and change the vibration of the planet. So, hope to see it on the microphone, everybody.
That was beautiful.
Your answers are much better than mine, for sure.
Yeah, I just trying to make dumb jokes.
Jim Miller.
Me.
What are/were your thoughts of Twilight becoming a princess?
I don't know. I thought it was fine. I mean, it would have been nice to have more time story-wise to build up to that. I know that was right before I was the storyboard supervisor in that season, and I know talking with Jason and Woody, who were directing at that time, they really wished that it had been two-parter, just to try and build up to it a little bit more, because it did feel abrupt. But, when we were working on that, we didn't even know that we were getting a fourth season. So it felt like, okay, well, if this is where the ride ends, what little we knew, then at least it does give a sense of completion to her arc. So that felt fine. And it has proven to be an interesting story point and for storytelling for us moving forward. So I don't know. I never look at those kinds of changes as bad. I look at them as challenges. Like how do we justify this change? How do we carry this forward into new storytelling opportunities? Do we actually make the audience care about the change, or does it feel cheap? And that's up to the audience to decide. So, I mean, I know some people still hate it almost 6 years later, and that's fine. You're totally allowed to hate it if you don't like it, and some people love it, and that's fine too. The fact is, whatever, we did our job well enough because you felt something about it. If the opposite of love isn't hate, it's apathy. So if you didn't care one way or the other, then that's apathy.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is a question for everyone. While working on the show, is there something that you did a while ago that you might do differently today? Right? I believe it was while working on the show, but I will allow it for life too. So long as you were working
That's
on
a
the show
much
at the
longer
time.
panel. We'll be doing that later tonight. I mean, yeah, when in season 4, that was my first year directing. I think I could do a better job on some of those episodes having 5 years of directing experience. So my approach to those things would be different, and whether or not they're better is up to the audience to decide. But I think how I would approach them would be with more confidence and skill. So yeah, you could always go backwards and change something, but I don't want to Lucas stuff anymore. I think once it's out in the world, it is what it is.
Yeah, there's like basically everything I've ever done that you've seen, I would fix 10 things on it if I had the opportunity. Like every time I send something off, like it's done, the minute after I send it, I go like, crap, I should fix this, change that. And so if I had the opportunity, I would go back in and fix everything. Luckily, I mostly had to just move on to the next one.
I mean, what's the expression? Art is never finished; it's abandoned.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time for us, it's abandoned not because we want to abandon it, but because we have other stuff we have to move on to.
Yeah.
So schedules and deadlines dictate. We could, if I had a year per episode, I could do a great job, make it even more beautiful than it is. But there'd still be things I want to change about it.
Maybe the first 4 covers I did when I started working on Ponies, though, I drew the knees wrong. And nobody stopped me. Nobody was like, the editor didn't stop me, Hasbro didn't say anything, like it just came out, and then like I was like, oh, people are gonna see my pony stuff now, and it came out and the internet was like, are you stupid? What's the matter with you? So they told me.
I would have gotten on the show sooner. I would have, auditioned for the show sooner. I wasn't in Vancouver really when everything was sort of just starting out. I was there and I didn't really know.
I don't think anyone knew at the time what a big deal it would be.
No, but I would have, like, if I had have been in Vancouver, I absolutely getting right on top of the auditions for that.
All right. What's something about your job that has surprised you?
Besides this part with all the people?
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah, for me it's the fandom. What's surprising is it's overwhelming because when we're in studios, I'm aware that there's an audience listening to what we're doing. But until you get in a convention and you meet everyone and you speak to everyone, that's surprising because it makes it so palpable for the work that you do, and it makes it so important because you can actually put faces and energies and hearts to why you do what you do, and it really is surprising. That is beautifully surprising. We don't get, or I don't get that opportunity. I have not gotten that opportunity with any other show.
I think we've all worked on things that go out into the world, and not that they're bad, but they don't connect or people don't react to it the same way. So
No, they
this is
win all
pretty
kinds of
unique.
awards, and you just never ever see people. You don't get a fandom like this. You just don't see it. It is a phenomenon, and that is what is so surprising about it, and so delicious. Like, you are delicious. Thank you. I can't thank you enough.
For an actual in production thing, I'm always amazed that we get anything done ever, because there's so many opportunities for this to fly off the rails in a horrible, horrible way. Because there's just, there's over 100 people working on the show, and there's a lot, computers crash and things get lost, and any number of things can happen. And the fact that we deliver a show of a degree of quality for those 26 episodes a year is they're 26 little miracles. Really, it's producing anything, it can all go wrong in a heartbeat.
And, it's like Hasbro does the wish list too. So another beautiful thing that I got to sort of experience was beyond the show. The Wish List Foundation brings kids in who, are struggling with health issues and it's their dream to come and watch
the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they get to come in and Terry will say, he's the director that I work with, the voice director, and he'll let the child either direct us or be a voice, like be an incidental pony, and to watch what this does for these kids who also love the show. It's quite miraculous. It's a gift for them, and I think it's a wonderful thing that Hasbro does, and then we all go out with them for lunch afterwards.
We always tell them first that they really should wish to go to Disney World, but then they insist, so we bring them in.
That's awesome.
I was surprised that the show was any good.
Thanks a lot.
So when I decided I wanted to be an artist, I was in high school and I graduated, and I had this friend whose dad took me aside and he was so concerned for me. It was just like, listen, if somebody offers you a job, no matter what, you just yes to it all the time now. So taking it, like, oh geez, okay, so I just always did. Like,
what have you agreed to over the years?
Everything. I mean, these people know they commission me for stuff. I never said no to a single thing. So I just said yes to everything, and then when this book came along, they were like, "Do you want to draw My Little Pony?" I was like, "Yes, I do." And then as soon as I said that, I was like, "Oh man, this could be like a baby show." And so I put it on, and I was like, "Oh, sweet." Also excellent at the same time. So I get to draw this, and it's good. What a delightful surprise! By the way, if any of you want to be an artist, if anyone offers you a job, just say yes to it, no matter what. I mean,
within reason.
Yeah, charge the correct prices for things.
Charge the correct prices. Don't do anything you're uncomfortable doing.
I mean, too uncomfortable.
All right, this one might be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm curious to see how we do. What would a cartoon character that's a microphone, what would their voice sound like? Anyone can answer it too. If you think you have a good microphone voice cartoon character.
Let's see what happens when we put them together.
Get on it, Hasbro.
Who wrote that question?
Probably be a rapper. Yeah. That'd be the greatest fear. I want to know the ones you're rejecting.
Yeah, why are you rejecting?
I bet they're. I mean, if the microphone one got through.
I'm not so much rejecting them. I'm just looking for what's some good talking points. You want me to pick one at random?
Sure.
All right.
Do it.
I am no longer on the hook
Come
for
on,
what happens.
it's gonna be great.
Cotton chairs in the back are
Do
getting
it.
sweaty.
A couple in there that are racist.
All right.
You want to pick?
This is officially someone else's fault.
Will we ever see Scootaloo's parents? And if not, why?
But like their corpses?
Who asked that question?
Everyone stare angrily at Jim now.
I can't talk about what may or may not be coming up on the show. They make us sign these things called NDAs, and that's a legal document where they can legally fire me if I ever give out information that they don't want to release ahead of time. So you'll have to stay tuned and see if we ever get to it. Sorry.
What do you think? Do you think you're going to see Scootaloo's parents? What do you? I say yes. I don't know. I didn't sign an NDA for that, so I'm just guessing.
All right.
it, do it, do it, do it. Oh, it's scary.
Was it hard to bring? Sorry, I have a hard time with certain people.
Was it hard to bring Derpy back?
Hard talk. Oh, talking Derpy.
Talking Derpy.
No, we just asked Tabitha to do it again, and she did it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think Hasbro changed their mind for whatever reason, and we were just in a script, and we're like, oh, we can do this again? Okay, cool. That was the end of discussion. If it was, it wasn't a decision I was a part of, so. Yeah.
For the record, these aren't bad questions either. I kept them up
Yeah.
for a reason.
That's what you said earlier. You're like, okay,
Yeah,
if I get
you're
some
like-
bad ones, I'm just not answering
I did not.
those.
Very judgmental.
Tony, you want to pick one?
Yeah, Tony, I'll come to you.
Heck yeah, heck yeah.
To Big Jim. Do you read and or write fan fiction? Pony or other?
Well, legally, we're not allowed to read fan fiction, pony fan fiction, because if I read something a few years ago, it got in my brain, and then we did an episode that was vaguely similar years down the road, then there's grounds for you to sue Hasbro, and Hasbro does not want to be sued. So they ask us to not read fan fiction. I don't write fan fiction. Like we were talking about, like working on our own characters. I don't even have time to draw for myself that much, let alone compose an opus about a show I'm not involved in. So I admire the creativity of the people who do. The breadth of fan fiction and fan drawing and stuff that this community alone generates is impressive. Much like Tony was saying about those guys on Instagram that work all day and then go home and draw all night too. I don't know where everyone gets the energy. I'm an old man. I am tired at the end of the day. So yeah, fan fiction is a bit of a no-go area for me.
You do keep a folder of Ed, Ed, and Eddie / fiction, right? Where you ship Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about now.
Really, because I want to go into this a little bit more. Ellie, would you give me a number between 1 and 7, please?
7.
To Big Jim.
Oh.
Were Celestia and Luna born alicorns? And that's from Wendy.
You know, Wendy, we've never actually had that discussion. That kind of level of deep continuity. I think there's a perception that there's been a lot of planned out stuff. Lauren may have had a plan for them about that, but it was never relayed to us when she left. So whether or not the writers get to dealing with that, I don't know. But we've never actually, the same way that we don't know how, whether they actually want to plan it, or how the sun and moon move when Celestia and Luna are incapacitated. You know, I've had some of these real technical astrophysics kind of questions on Twitter. I'm like, I don't know, we just make it do what it has to do with the episode. We've never really gotten into it. I'm sorry, it's not a very satisfying answer.
And what about, okay, so there's Celestia, Luna, and Miss Moon.
Yeah.
Got the floating names,
Yeah.
so what does that mean?
That means there's a pony off screen with a fan.
I was going to say, didn't we just address this?
They're all like Beyonce.
Yeah.
How big do you think the ponies are?
How big?
Like in popularity, like big in Japan?
I think that they're like the size of a thumbnail.
Well, I mean, we don't have any frame of reference for their reality, so they could be tiny or massive. I think it would be really cool if you went to their world and they're all kaiju.
I think the little, like, that would be my Grant Morrison take on it, that the little is actually the most important part of the title. That they're all actually very little. Then he's like, you didn't know they were little?
Wouldn't it be more of a Shyamalan twist if the Breezies were the actual full-size characters and ponies were these giant things?
That would be good.
I think they're as big as your heart will let them be.
To that end, though, Equestria Girls is its own universe, too. Could they all be the size of thumbnails?
Thumbnail.
I think of that as being our universe. So they come to our real universe. We just don't live in a magic town particularly.
You ever seen any purple-skinned people?
Yeah, LA.
Good answer.
All right. Someone want to give me a number between? We got 2 more questions added, so can I get a number between 1 and 8?
I mean, 4.
Why did the main 6 take so long to forgive Discord, but they forgave Starlight like way faster? Yeah, what's up with that, Jim?
They're growing, right? What's that? They learn and grow.
Yeah, they forgave Discord earlier in the series.
Learned how to forgive.
And then they were like, oh, we should have gotten on top of that a little earlier.
Yeah.
And then they went, by the time they got to Starlight, they're like,
Okay.
That's a really good answer. I like that.
thanks, Tony. Thanks,
Well,
Tony.
Yeah, Tony was really helpful.
Tony, can I have a number between 1 and 7?
4 again.
4 again. What was Nicole Oliver's reaction to horseplay?
The episode horseplay. She loved it. Yeah. Talk about the episode horseplay. She had that's the one where she did all the bad acting, and surprisingly enough, having a good actor do bad acting is kind of hard. You know, she did a fantastic job, but there was a bit of an adjustment at the beginning. You're like, oh, this has to be bad, but I still need to be good at being bad. So it's a bit of a screws with your head a little bit. But it was really funny in the record session.
Point along. You guys have opinions on shipping?
Well, we tend to use Canada Post.
DHL is that Norton antivirus guy.
Well, if I order stuff from the States, I try not to use UPS because there's a brokerage fee when it comes over there, and they end up paying more.
I hate when people use UPS because I don't like to sign for stuff. Just leave it at my door, man. My neighbor just
My grandmother saw the UPS store one day, and she's like, "What's an up store?"
This one asks specifically about Flutterdash. Do they have like good rates? Do you know of? Or
I mean, that's a good name for a delivery company. You know, they're fast but a little bit meandering. So.
They always apologize when they deliver it.
Ellie, 1 to 5.
4.
You got some love from number 4.
Yeah.
4 is the best number.
Are the MLP books canon, like the one where Cadence used to be a Pegasus, or the one with Scootaloo's ants? Not parents, ants.
We always think, like, in the comics for sure, we kind of think of them as being like party canon, or sort of party canon until something happens. Some mistakes were made.
Yeah, I mean, in the show, it's not like we get sent copies of the books or told that we need to follow along with this. So a lot of the times we don't know when a change is made or if something is established in the book. And that's Hasbro sort of controls all the different divisions through the books and the comics and the show, so that's really up to them. And unfortunately, the books are canon until the show says otherwise. Not the best answer, and it kind of sucks for the people who made those books.
I mean, my real answer is that the comics sort of goes in and out of canon if they decide to start coming up.
Good answer. Good
People
answer.
approve the stuff. It's like the same people look over all the stuff.
Yeah.
But they also don't ever come to like read it. So they don't know that you're counting on them so much. They just think they go to work on Monday and then go home on Friday.
I don't think it's like a willful ignorance. I don't think they want that, but I think that their priorities are a little bit different. And we don't have I was talking about it yesterday to anyone who came to my director's commentary. We don't have a single person who keeps track of the timelines for everything. I don't think anyone anticipated that would be a necessity. So there are hiccups on it.
I feel like you can just hire someone to do it for them.
I think there'd be a lot of people who would take that job.
Yeah, right.
Let me just say that the MLP wiki page is very helpful.
Yeah. That's what my editor tells me when I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Tony perform.
Probably going to be number 4.
See, what's funny is in my mind that was number 1, so gotcha.
This is you could voice any existing character. Who would it be?
They didn't say an MLP though, right? I'd like to overdub all of Magnum PI.
Just with your same voice, though. Don't you
I'm bad though. We're here to solve the crime. I'm angry.
You're old man.
Old.
Old.
Got the mustache.
I mean, I guess Twilight Sparkle, right? That would be the best business decision.
I'd like to see a version of the show where you are Twilight.
Dear Princess Leia.
What about you, Ellie? Who would you like to voice?
Jamie Fraser from Outlander. Jamie Fraser. I love Jamie Fraser.
I was just gonna let you keep going. I wanted to hear more of that.
No, it's like that's like, you know.
That's
I don't watch television except when I go to Vancouver and stay with Tabitha because she has Netflix, and then I binge watch everything.
This one's not a question. I think they just wanted to point it out so that we're all straight. In the episode The Crystalling, the dialogue implies that Princess Celestia and Luna were not born as alicorns, unlike Flurry Heart. So that's the question.
I think that's
More
open
the
for
Make sure we
station,
got that
isn't
right.
it? They were not.
I want more questions like that.
Yeah, we just want fact checking now.
Just deep continuity, please.
What did we get wrong? Bam. Actually, Ellie.
We've only got 3 left. There's one of those. Might as well
Hey,
do it.
Jim.
Hi.
Hi. Given a chance to complete Generation 5, would you do it? If you had a chance.
Oh, if I had a chance to work on a new version? I don't know. I feel like if there was a new version of the show, it probably needs new blood, because wouldn't I just end up doing a lot of the same stuff? You know, like, I think if it does move on, and then most shows do at some point reboot themselves, I think you need a whole new...
What do you guys think? Does it need new blood, or do you want it to?
I want Jim forever.
What do you guys
$20
want?
after the
Don't change the species.
Well, I
I
mean-
heard over there.
My Little Pony featuring dragons.
It already does. That's right.
My little llama.
If you want it to be different, you want it to take like a couple years off, right?
Ideally, yeah. I think everyone would need a breather.
Yeah, but maybe different perspective, a different take on it.
Yeah.
I would still want to work on the comic book.
For Jin, if you could erase an episode from canon, what would it
That's rude. I'm not going to answer that. You know, a lot of people worked on episodes that you don't like, and they worked really hard on those. So I think to say this one doesn't deserve to exist is rude to their efforts. So I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah.
To that end, do you think that maybe there was something that might have like closed a door on an idea that you would maybe take back so that it could be explored more?
I mean, there's always things I'd like to do more of. Like I would have liked to. I like to do more with the Pillars, just because I think they're neat. It'd be nice to do more with the Young Six because they're cool. But also, you don't want to do that at the expense of the date you brought to the dance. So you don't want to lose the main six of the show. So it's definitely a balance. Yeah, that'd be something I'd have to think about more. Like, did we close the door on anything? It's a fantasy world, and much like comics, if you kill off a character in a comic book, you can always figure out a way to bring them back. So I don't think there's such a thing as closing a door as much as just, having to cut a hole for a different door.
I love that they're all like the all sort of are in the same format.
Yeah.
I just wish that all the adventures of like 9 or 18
I don't want to draw that. I don't want to animate that. That season 7 thing when we had the pillars and the main 6 and Spike and Starlight and Sunburst, trying to stage some of those shots is really hard.
But it was awesome.
For outsiders, like if you turn on your first episode of My Little Pony, there's like 18 ponies. What's going on here? What are we party? Which one's the Twilight Sparkle?
Was there ever like a case when you were putting that scene together where there's just like a frame where you're like, we forgot a character?
Yes. I don't know. If you go back and watch 726, you'll notice in the third act, Spike is just gone. Not because we didn't want him, but he didn't have any lines and he didn't have anything in the script to do, so it was just easier to not have him and then try to generate some business for him to do that was just more business on top of already a lot of business.
Did it crash the computer?
Sorry?
Did it crash the
The
computer?
Breezy's one did, for sure. Flash doesn't like having too many characters in a scene, so yeah, that could be a problem. Yeah, not so much because they were very simple characters.
Huh, that's interesting. You find it hard to make new characters competing with the world in OCs. I don't know what that means.
I think they're just talking about, who asked that question? Yeah, just about balancing everyone, you mean?
No, that all of us create OCs.
Oh, it makes it hard to get names cleared by legal, that's for sure. Like someone will say, oh, this is Melody Springs, and then we'll get the report back. It says there's 17 Melody Springs fan characters. Please try and think of a new pony name. Well, trying to come up with new pony names 8 years in can be really hard.
I just did the comics did a Discord Jason character named Eris. The minute we got it, I looked it up and I was like, geez, there seems to be an Eris already, and I wrote my editor and he's like, just go ahead. Our legal department at comic books is very small.
I have my own question, if I may.
Do it.
That maybe you could probably mostly for Jim could speak to. Was there like a difference kind of like with the rating guideline between the show and the movie, that there was like more things they could get away with, or was there?
I don't really know. I didn't work on the movie because the movie was happening at the same time as the end of season 5, all of season 6, all of season 7. So when Jason moved on, someone needed to stay on the TV show, so that's how I got bumped up as supervising director. So I wasn't really involved with those kinds of discussions. I would occasionally bump into Jason and ask him how things were going, and it was very stressful. But I think there are different guidelines between TV and movies in terms of the ratings. I know that they were trying to be more of a PG than a G for the movie, but I don't really know what made that different. Probably the level of action and what they would call violence on the TV show. Like, I know there was a bit more kicking and stuff in the movie. Some of that stuff can be harder to get around, like a kick in the face on the TV show.
Well, I think we gotta wrap it up now. Do you guys have anything you want to plug that you're allowed to talk about coming up soon?
I'm doing a miniseries right now called Nightmare Nights. That a bunch of the villains get together and have to face off against a new threat. It's Tempest, Shadow, and Princess Luna, and Stygian. Tapper's up in it, Trixie. So yeah, that one's fun. The last issue of that comes out in a couple weeks, and then the collected edition will be out in probably like 2 months. So that's recommended. That's the newest thing I've got going on. Oh, and there's new volumes of the role-playing game, Tales of Equestria, come out soon. And I do those. I just do the covers. I didn't write it.
I'm under 3 NDAs, but yahoo!
One thing's coming.
Yay! Love you hard.
Yeah, I got an NDA too, but I've been trying to do this drawing challenge that my friend set up for the month of February on Instagram, where you draw a different robot every day. And he has a list of prompts. Today's prompt was boom, so robot that kind of looks like pooping. If you want to follow me on Instagram and see some terrible drawings of
Pooping
robots.
robots, I can't believe it.
Yeah, at the biggest gym. That's occasionally I post drawings.
All right. Well, if you guys want to see these three again tomorrow at 11 a.m., we've got the Show Staff Shuffle Up. We're going to be doing some crazy fun things with. But that's it. So everyone, give it up for our guest of honor.
Thank you, John Bonner. Thank you for all the great questions. Thank you, Andy.
You guys are awesome. We love you guys.
We got to clear out because I believe karaoke with Tony is coming up in just a little
Karaoke
bit.
with Tony.
30 minutes.
In the meantime, go and buy commissions from Tony in the vendor hall.
Yeah, and we'll see you later on this afternoon in the hallway. Come for hugs and boots.
I have to know, if you guys were in one of these conventions, what would you like to ask these people? Leave your answer in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next and final episode of this series, the Switch panel, where the talent switches the roles that they're used to and has to do a different job. See you guys next time. Wheel Trouble out.